You know that feeling, right? Some days you wake up ready to conquer the world, and other days you can barely drag yourself out of bed. Well, what if I told you that's not random? Turns out, your body is running on this hidden schedule, a really powerful internal clock that's pulling the strings on everything from your mood to your metabolism to your overall health. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the science of that inner clock.
So, first question for you. Are you a morning lark or a night owl? We all kind of feel like we fit into one of those boxes. But here's the thing. It's not just a habit, and it's definitely not a personal preference. It's literally baked into your biology.
Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to explore what scientists call your chronotype, and you'll see how it's this deep-seated biological trait that's basically running the show every single day.
So the official kind of sciencey word for this is chronotype. All it really means is it's the outward expression of your body's own 24-hour clock. It's your natural built-in tendency to be up and at 'em at certain times and ready to crash at others.
Now, think of this like a spectrum. On one end, you've got morningness. These are the people who are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning. And way over on the other end, you've got eveningness. Those are your night owls who really hit their stride later in the day. Now, most of us, we fall somewhere in the middle. So how does your body actually keep track of time? Well, you can think of it like a giant symphony orchestra. For it to sound good, you've got to have a conductor, right? Someone up front making sure every instrument comes in at just the right moment. And your body has one of those conductors. It's this tiny little spot deep in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or let's just call it the SCN. You can think of it as the master timekeeper for your entire body, setting the rhythm for, well, everything.
But, you know, a master clock in your brain can't do the job all by itself. It has to send out memos to every single organ, every cell, to get them all on the same beat. It needs a messenger.
And that main messenger, the conductor's baton really, is a hormone you have definitely heard of, cortisol. Yeah, it gets a bad rap as the stress hormone, but when it comes to keeping time, its job is absolutely essential.
Okay, what's so cool here is the rhythm. Cortisol isn't just released whenever. It follows the super strict 24-hour cycle. It shoots up right when you're supposed to wake up. That's your body's natural alarm clock. Then it slowly fades throughout the day, hitting its lowest point late at night so you can fall asleep. This rise and fall is the signal that gets all the other clocks in your liver, your muscles, all synced up. It's a pretty beautiful system when it's all working. But what happens when the conductor is late? Or when the beat is just off? Well, the health effects can be huge. And one of the most surprising connections scientists are finding is the one to ADHD. Yeah, researchers are discovering this really deep and frankly often overlooked connection between a messed up internal clock and the symptoms of conditions like ADHD.
I mean, just look at this number. A whopping 78% of people with ADHD also have these delayed sleep-wake cycles. That's not just a small overlap, that's a massive correlation. It's screaming that there's a real biological link here.
And we can actually measure it. In adults with ADHD, the release of melatonin, that's the hormone that tells your body, hey, it's nighttime, is delayed by about 90 minutes on average. Their internal sense of night is literally starting an hour and a half late. And this brings us right back to our conductor, cortisol. What we see in many people with ADHD is that their morning cortisol spike is blunted. It's a weaker signal, and it's delayed. The conductor is basically waving the baton too softly and way too late. And that throws the timing of the whole body out of whack, which can really contribute to those classic symptoms like inattention and hyperactivity. So if your clock is running late, the big question is, can you actually fix it? And the fantastic news is, yes, absolutely. There's a whole toolkit of science-backed ways to get your internal rhythm back on track. Okay, so here are 4 of the most powerful things you can do. The biggest signal for your clock is light, so get some bright sunlight first thing in the morning. Then, do the opposite at night. Dim the lights, get off the screens. Food is also a time cue, so eating at regular times really helps. And an easy one, just cut out the caffeine after 1 p.m. to let your body wind down. Now, for a more powerful shift, you can use a very specific melatonin protocol. And the key here, and this is super important, it's all about the timing, not the dose. We're talking a teeny tiny dose like 0.5 milligram. So let me walk you through how this works. In week 1, you take that tiny dose 5 hours before you'd normally go to bed. The next week, you back it up an hour, take it 6 hours before. Then week 3, you go back 1 more hour to 7 hours before bed. This slow, gradual process gently pulls your entire internal clock earlier, syncing you up with the schedule you actually want to be on. But hold on,
Before we wrap up, this whole story has one last pretty amazing twist. We've talked about all the problems of a wonky clock, but what if there's a hidden superpower on the very edge of sleep?
I mean, what if that twilight zone, those few moments where you're just starting to drift off, is actually where our brains have their biggest breakthroughs? And this isn't just some nice idea. A huge study found that just a single minute spent in that very first stage of sleep was enough to triple the chances of having a creative insight. A factor of 3. That's insane.
Just look at this chart. It's mind-blowing. When people were trying to solve a tough problem, the ones who stayed awake got it right about 30% of the time. But the people who were allowed to drift into that light, drowsy N1 stage of sleep, their success rate shot up to 83%. But here's the wild part. If they slipped any deeper into N2 sleep, the advantage totally disappeared. It dropped to just 14%.
So that's the big takeaway. There is a creative sweet spot. This brief, fragile little N1 sleep stage is like a secret window for creativity. But you have to hit it just right. If you fall asleep too fast or too deep, you miss it completely.
And that kind of leaves you with one last question, doesn't it? In a world that wants us to be either 100% on or totally off, you have to wonder, what amazing ideas are just sitting there waiting for you in your own twilight zone?